Hello there, we are back again to talk about transformations, and this time we'll be talking about rotations. So let's get going. Alright, what is rotation? A rotation is a spin, or you rotate a shape about a fixed point using a given angle of rotation. And in this type of transformation, we are still creating a congruent shape, meaning the shape after it has been rotated is still the same shape as the original shape. However, its viewing angle is different from the original one. Unlike translation here, where the viewing angle is still the same, however, the position has changed. Okay, let's get going. You have to rotate this shape about point A. This is point A. A is a fixed point, so you are going to like hold it fixed like that, and then you turn your shape around. Okay, in order to see the difference between the original shape and the final shape after the rotation, because we do not have the x-axis and the y-axis showing us the coordinates, so we are going to trace the shape onto another paper. It is kind of difficult if you do not have a trace paper to do that. So here's another copy of the same shape. I'm going to cut it out, and when you cut it out, you must make sure the point of rotation, the fixed point about which you're going to rotate, must be there on the cutout shape. Okay, I'm cutting it out. Okay, now we put it back on top of the original shape. Make sure they match. And you see, I'm leaving out this bit here. That's where I will put my pen on to point A so that it remains fixed while I rotate the shape. Now the instruction says to rotate 90 degrees clockwise to the right. So now I'm going to rotate. Watch carefully. So I'm putting my pen on point A to keep it fixed. And I'm going to rotate it a 90-degree angle, which is to this direction. Okay, take note, from the point of rotation, I draw a straight line on the original page to show the north line or the y-axis. And from the north line to the east line or to the x-axis, that's a 90-degree angle created between these two lines, the x and the y. So I'm going to rotate the shape now, keeping it fixed at point A. And let's rotate. When we are rotating, you make sure point A now aligns with the east line or the x-axis line, so that we have rotated the shape to a 90-degree angle. Okay, keep the shape there, and then we can trace it out on our paper again. So you see, this will be easy to do if we have a okay If we have a trace paper, that will be very easy to do because a trace paper is see-through, so we can see through the paper below. Okay, see this edge here is in line with this edge, or this corner of the arrow is in line with this line underneath, so put a mark there to indicate that this line is in line with this line. So we draw it out, and this here is in line with this line, the grid paper, and then connect this bit and this. Let me see. Like this, it stops there. Okay. Okay, so right here, this is the shape after we rotate the original shape, a 90-degree angle clockwise. As you can see, without the x-axis and the y-axis with the scales on them, this is gonna be a little bit difficult to do. You have to have a trace paper to be able to do this with ease, to be able to do this without all the fuss about tracing out the shape and redrawing it and then rotating it around and then trying your best to look down and see where the actual lines are to draw the rotated shape. But with x and y axis drawn, it's gonna be easy to do. I'll give you another example which has x and y axis there with the coordinates, so you can easily rotate your paper around. Now this here is the easiest way and this will be done if you are given the x coordinates and the y coordinates on the axis like this. So if your shape is drawn on a plane like this, let's say if they give you these angles to rotate, then the easiest way to do it is you rotate the grid paper according to the angle of rotation and change the x and y coordinates to get the new coordinates. Then you rotate the paper back to its original shape and you draw the new rotated shape. So let's see this as an example. Rotate triangle XYZ 90 degrees. Clockwise about the origin. Okay, this is the origin where the x and the y axis meet. So that means this will be the fixed point and we are going to rotate it 90 degrees clockwise. Now if you can remember back to when we learned about directions, we have this north line and then we have this east, south and west line, and from north to east the angle formed is 90 degrees. So when we are told to rotate the triangle 90 degrees, that means we are going to rotate it from this original position 90 degrees towards the right. To rotate this shape physically without going through the fuss of cutting it out and then rotating it, since we are rotating at the origin, we can simply rotate the whole paper 90 degrees from this direction to that direction. So let's do it. 90 degrees clockwise. Now you change your x and your y axis. So your x axis was this one, but now when we rotate it, it becomes the y axis. And this was the y axis before. When it is rotated 90 degrees clockwise, it now becomes the x axis. So this on the right side are the positive x coordinates, and this here on the left side is the negative x coordinates. These ones become the positive y coordinates, and these ones below become the negative y coordinates. So now let's get the coordinates of these original shapes in this new orientation now. So let's see, point x right here now has the x coordinate of positive 2, and let's write it down somewhere. Point x now has new coordinates of x is positive 2 and y is negative 1. So let's write it down somewhere. X is 2 and y is negative 1. Okay, next, point y, new coordinates. X is 5 and y is negative 3. Okay, let's continue to point z. Point z now has a new x coordinate. Point x has a new x coordinate of 4 and a new y coordinate of positive 3. Okay, after we write this someplace, after we write this coordinate someplace, we can now rotate the paper. Okay, this is point z. We can now rotate the paper back to its original position. Okay, so now we have rotated the paper back to its original plane, and now we'll be plotting these coordinates on the plane to get our rotated shape. So let's do it. Okay, we draw straight lines to connect the points, and there we have it. And that's it. So this is the new shape with the coordinates of the new points, z prime, y prime, x prime. Okay, so these are some more questions which you can do, as well as this one and this one also. Okay, after you are done, you'll recall that we have 3 sheets of worksheet. So these are the answers to the third worksheet, and these are the answers to the fourth worksheet. Right, if you do not want to rotate the paper and draw the shape like we just did, you have to memorize all these rules and just use this rule to change the coordinates. Okay, let's see. If you go back to this example and deal with the coordinates using these rules, let's see. Okay, the type of rotation is we have rotated 90 degrees clockwise. So this will be our rule. The original x and y coordinates will now switch, and the x, which became the y, will change its sign also. So let's see, point Z here has the coordinates -3, 4 on the original object. When we rotate at 90 degrees clockwise, the two coordinates switch. 4 becomes the x coordinate, 3 becomes the y coordinate, but its sign changes from negative to positive. Okay, let's check point Z. Yeah, 4 becomes the x-axis, -3 becomes the y-axis with a change of sign. Okay, confirm. Point Y. The coordinates on the object are 3, 5. So to rotate it at 90 degrees clockwise, we switch the coordinates around. So 5 becomes the x coordinate and 3 becomes the y coordinate with a negative sign. There they are. Confirm. And point X on the object has the coordinates 1, -2, pardon me, 1, +2, and when we rotate it 90 clockwise, we switch them around. 2 becomes the x coordinate and 1 becomes the y coordinate with a change of sign. Okay, so again, you can rotate the paper physically to get your new rotated shapes, or you can memorize all these rules for the different types of rotations, memorize them, and apply them instead of physically rotating your paper. Okay, that's it for now. Stay tuned for more videos. The next one coming up is how to write equations of three types of graphs. Quadratic graph, which is a parabola, a linear graph, straight line, and an inequality graph. So stay tuned. Hit the notification bell there if you haven't subscribed yet. Do so you don't miss out any of these remedial videos. That's it for now. Catch in the next one.